really delighted to say that we've got two keynote speakers. We've got a keynote speaker for the morning and a keynote speaker for the afternoon. This morning, it will be Neil Doig, who is the founder of Money Tips and the author of Millennial Money Mindset. Neil's going to be joining us to talk through lots of top tips and, crucially, how to make sure this Christmas that we spend with our mind and not our heart. So as you can see, we've got a packed agenda. We've got lots of fantastic speakers joining us today. If everybody's ready, I think we're ready to begin. So I'm delighted to bring to the stage Neil Doig. He's the founder of Money Tips. He's the author of Millennial Money Mindset, and he's going to be talking to us about how to spend with our mind and not our heart this Christmas. Neil, welcome to the stage.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited. I just realized I've got to turn on my camera. There we go. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Perfect, Neil. I'm going to take myself off the stage now and hand over to you.
Okay, thanks so much. So back on track. We're gonna give you top tips on how to improve your finances. So I'm just mindful of your time, so stay right until the end because you're going to give away loads of tips. I was just wondering to the speaker, can I have the slides up? There we go. Thanks so much. So we're going to talk about spend with your head, not with your heart. So stay right to the end because we're going to give loads of practical tips that you can use with your everyday life. So next slide, please. So before we start, I'm going to give a gift for everyone today. And so to make it as practical as possible. So if you want a gift, I'm going to give a free training course on how to automate your finances to give yourself more me time. So take down the email address there, neildoig@moneytips.co.uk, or alternatively, you can go to my website, www.moneytips.co.uk, and Money Tips is spelled with two P's. So just send me a message and I'll send you some free training. And give yourself the gift of being present today. So if you're on, please turn off any phones or turn off any notifications or any other messages that might pop up. Because today there's so many good speakers and you want to take as much as possible. So yeah, just if you've got 25 minutes and focus on it, because I'm going to give some knowledge that's going to potentially could improve your life. So next slide, please. So my first vivid memory of money was I was on the floor swimming in pound coins. It was the height of the 1990s recession and I was 8 years old. I realized that it was tough times. People were losing their jobs. The economy was in terrible situations and the stock market had crashed. And I was on the floor swimming like Scrooge McDuck from the Disney film with pound coins. And this just proved to me, or instilled in me, that you can make money in any market. There is money all around us and we just have to think differently and how to spend with our heads and not our hearts. And I'm going to give away some tips right to the end, so stay right with me. So rolling on the floor of these pound coins, I just volunteered for a jumble sale. And what we'd done, we'd gone out and collected old toys, old clothes and old games and from people's houses, and we put them into a jumble sale and we sold these to raise money for a scout bus to take us for our summer camp. And essentially it was one of my biggest lessons in business because I learned that it's all about giving value to other people. Money is just about giving value to other people. And what we'd done, we'd collected unwanted food, unwanted clothes and sold it to other people that would use that for themselves. And this installed a big lesson to me that you can make any money in any market. So even if we're in tough times today, even if the economy is not as strong as it could be, there is ways to make money. And it was my first profit in business. So what I'd done, I'd bought some Nike Air Max trainers. These were the height of fashion at the time, and I was wanting these for ages. And what I'd done, I bought them. They were costing £20, but I'd paid, because they were secondhand, I managed to buy them for £10, and I sold them to my friend for £30, and I managed to make £20 profit. Holding that £20 in my hand, it was a realization that actually business is all about taking value and giving value to someone else, and taking someone from a low low place, a low, somewhere like used trainers and offering it to someone else and offering value. And that's all business is. Essentially, it's offering value to other people. And that was a real insight into me. My second vivid memory of money was my first week at university, and I'd already been in debt with student debt. And there was a thing called Freshers Week where you sign up to clubs and societies and teams. And there was credit card companies, there was corporations who wanted you to sign up to these for their credit cards and essentially get you further in debt. And I just had this the image in my head of my dad saying, make money, either you make money for yourself, or either work for money or money's going to work for you. So either you can make money, either money's going to work for you, or you're going to work for money. So at that time, I refused to take those credit cards because I realized that actually getting into debt and realizing how much compound interest, and we're going to talk about that in the next slide, how bad that can be. And essentially, it can cause some downward spirals. And essentially, the message here is, if you can, don't get into debt, because that was one of my biggest vivid memories of money. My third and final story is when I started Money Tips. So my company's called Money Tips. I used to be a financial advisor, helping million pound clients, and I didn't feel right saving tax for rich people, helping rich people save more tax. I thought, how many school books could that provide? How many hospital beds could that provide? And how many library books could that provide? So I left my job as a financial advisor and started my own company called Money Tips. And we're different. We educate and empower you to make your own decisions with money. So we offer good quality education, and we educate and inspire. So I've got a book called Millennial Money Mindset. I've got a card game called Football Formation Asset Allocation, and it's managing your money around a football team. And we offer training as well, online training and in-person training. And we're going to give you some tips, and we're going to talk about compound interest on the next slide. So next slide, please. So my book was called Money Mindset, and essentially it's how money mindset is how you think and feel around money. And this is the most important thing about money. And there's a quote from a great thinker called William James, and he says, the greatest discovery of our generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitude. And essentially it's how, if you start thinking differently about money, then you can actually start impacting money as your life. So money is caused it's a biggest problem, it's the biggest cause of worry with people. So there's a lot of people struggling, there's a lot of people worrying, and there's a lot of people with high stress around money. So if you're in that same situation, you're not alone. There's a lot of people at the moment with these bad times with coronavirus, with the recessions, and with many people going on furlough. There's a lot of people struggling today, and you're not alone. So it's the biggest cause of stress and worry today. And I'm here to help you, and there's a number of great speakers today that's also going to cover a lot of good topics. So stay right to the end. So what is money mindset? So why is it so important? It's how you think, feel, and act around your money. So just thinking differently can improve how you act around money. So we're all different with money. We all have our own relationships, and we all have our different stories and backgrounds around money. So money can be an emotional subject. So there's many people who are stressed and worried around money, and there's many people who are potentially money can cause anxiety, guilt, or worry. But just think, money is just a tool. It's just a tool to use it to be able to buy and sell things easily. So the ultimate aim, what I realized, is not about life is not about money. Money is there to give you the freedom to live the life of happiness and freedom that you can. So if you think about money differently, this book aims to change your mindset and how you think and feel around money. And we're going to give you some tips on how to do that. And one of the most powerful concepts is a concept called compound interest, which is on the next slide. So next slide, please. So as I said previously, either money works for you or you work for money. So compound interest, it sounds like a complicated idea. Maths was never my favorite subject at school, and maybe it's not for you. And the good thing about money, you don't need to know, maths is not that actually important about money. So I much preferred geography, I much preferred sports, playing football, I much preferred science. But compound interest is the single biggest mathematical calculation that you need to understand with money. And Albert Einstein said it the best. He said, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. So if you understand it, you can earn it. And if you don't understand it, you end up paying it. And this is what I see today, and so many people not understanding this concept. So all it is it's how much you pay on a loan or a deposit. So if you take a loan, or if you borrow £100, you're going to pay interest on that £100. And what happens? It builds up like a snowball. Think of it like a snowball. A snowball starts off really small, and if you roll it in the snow, it builds up over time. And either that's going to work for you and you save that money, or you invest that money, or you lend that money to other people, and that money is going to grow for you, or it's going to work against you. If you borrow money like credit cards, that snowball is going to, and that money is going to build up over time, and it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's going to get more and more and more stressful. So you can lend money to people, or you can invest, you can save or invest your money. So this is going to be working for you. So this concept, this idea, this mathematical sum, or this mathematical calculation, is the single biggest important thing you need to understand about your money and your finances. And it's essentially how long it takes to double your money. So there's a really easy calculation called the rule of 72. And I go into much more detail in the training program that I'm offering for free. Just sign up today. It's called, and this rule of 72, essentially how quickly your money can double. So if you have £100 earning, say, 10% interest, I know that's in a bank, that's not, you're not going to get that in a bank these days, but if you potentially can invest that and get 10% interest. So if you have £100 earning 10% interest, the money you take to double is going to be 7.2 years. So 72 divided by that 10% interest is 7.2 years. And if you borrow that money, if you take out a credit card costing 10% interest rates, that money you owe is going to double over 7.2 years. So 72 divided by 10% interest rate, that money, that £100 is going to turn to £200 in 7.2 years. And that's going to mean you're going to have to pay back double that amount, which is kind of crazy. But we're going to cover essentially why credit cards are so bad for your long-term wealth. So next slide, please. So credit cards are damaging for your long-term wealth. So credit card companies are not your friend. These credit card companies are there to take your money. And once you understand that, it's going to really help you understand with your money. So the first time, as I used in that story, when I was at university and I turned down that credit card, that credit card loan is still one of my best decisions I've made financially. So some of my friends they took the credit cards and they went out and bought nice TVs, stereos, and it was good for a year or two. But then once that TV broke, or they had to buy the next one, they still had lumbered with this giant snowball of debt that they had to pay back. And it's gonna cause so much stress and worry around with your money. So don't buy on credit cards. If you can get into a disciplined habit of saving up, maybe that's just putting a pound coin in a jar every week, then that's going to reduce your stress and worry. If in today's age of mass consumption, we're bombarded by adverts advertising us to buy things we don't need. These credit card companies, these advertisers, they just want your money. They're not your friend. They want you to spend more money because that's going to mean more profits for their company, more profits for their shareholders, and more profits for their quarterly results. So in this age of mass consumption, you have to be disciplined not to spend on things we don't need. And credit cards are a massive way to damage long-term wealth. There's a number of different buy now, pay later loan companies that are coming out, and they're really dangerous because they seem so easy. It's credit card companies are like smoking is like cigarettes for your health. It's really dangerous because it gets you into debt over the long term. It's not good for your long-term wealth. Credit card companies make billions of pounds of you buying more and more, consuming their products and meeting their quarterly profits. So using a credit card, it makes the transaction seem less real. And it seems like you're more like to spend more, getting you more into debt. So yeah, I urge you if you can, don't spend on credit cards, consumer credit. But what you should be doing is spend with your head and not your heart. And the next slide, please. So the idea is to start saving and saving every week or every month. This could be just a pound coin into a jar. Or it could, if you can, you can do it automatically by saving up a direct debit, so it goes into a different savings account automatically. So if you imagine if you work for just for the first hour, so you might think, Neil, it's so difficult to start saving because when at the end of the month I have nothing left to save. But the secret is to save and pay yourself first. So you need to pay yourself before anyone else. So imagine you work at a job, that first hour of your time, that is for you to save money. That's for no one else. Don't pay that to your credit card companies. Don't pay that for your rent. Don't pay that for to buy consumer credit. That's just there to save up. So first hour of your day should be just to pay yourself. And this is going to give you a massive peace of mind when in a month's time, in a year's time, in 5 years' time, you're going to have, if you do this and you don't spend it, it's going to build up over time. And just like that snowball example we use, it's going to build up over time and it's going to become massive. That snowball is going to become massive and it's going to give you massive peace of mind and reduce your stress and worries. So write down all your needs and wants. There's a difference between what we need and what we want. So needs are things we need to survive, like water, shelter, heating, food. And we need this to survive. And wants are everything else. This is buying things that we don't necessarily need, things that we can do without, we can live without. So the real secret is to spend less than you earn and then save or invest the difference. So spend less than you earn and save and invest the difference. And I know it's easier said than done, but if you can crack this one thing, then life gets so much easier. So there's a quote from Charles Dickens, and he says, when your income is bigger than your expenses equals happiness. When your expenses are bigger than income equals pain. So the secret is to spend less than you earn and then save the difference, and that will create happiness. And life is all about happiness. It's not about money. Money is not the right result. The result is happiness, having a better life and having more experiences with your friends, your family, and your loved ones. So there's three choices. So either you can earn more, you can spend less, or you can do a bit of both. So how do you earn more? So you earn more by getting more experience, more education, or using your time to add value to people. So there's a number of different training programs you can do. You can get more education, have more experience. The more experience, the more value you can add for people, the more money you're going to get paid. The second one is spending less. I'm going to give you some tips later on, and it's in a few moments, to how you can use this to spend less, or you can do a bit of both. So we're going to give you some tips. So on the next slide, please. So one of the biggest things how to increase how much money you earn over your lifetime is by setting goals. So there was a study done, and they worked out that if you set goals, the simple act of writing down your goals and heading towards that goal, you earn twice as much than someone who hasn't set those goals. So let me say that again. If you write down your goals, you're going to earn twice as much than if you didn't write those goals down. So I have goals at the end every year. I write down goals and head towards those goals. So I split my goals into three. I have my work goals, my rest goals, like my hobbies, and then my play goals, like my bucket list. So write down what you want from work. If you want to increase where you want to work, what's your ideal job, how much you want to earn from that job. Then your second one is your rest. What would you like to do as a hobby? So I started writing my book as a hobby. I just started thinking, actually, this could add a lot of value to people's lives. And I started writing as a hobby. I started my podcast, Millennial Money Mindset, as a hobby. I just started writing, started publishing podcasts, speaking to people, and it started as a hobby, and now it's part of my business. And a third thing is play. What would you love to do? So life is for living. It's not always about spending and saving, or investing. So I know I talk a lot about spending less than you earn and about resisting temptation, but life is for living. You need something to reward yourself for what you save. So write down your work goals, your rest goals, and your play goals. So if you go shopping, have a shopping list. It's the same as setting goals. So if you have a shopping list and stick to it, so know what you want from your shopping list. Start off writing a shopping list before you go. may sound simple, but I've done it so many times where I've gone shopping and I've just bought loads of stuff, and I've got home and I was like, I didn't really want this, I didn't really need this, but as I said, corporations are real clever at that, the psychological and the mindset tricks they can play on us. So there's certain things they put, they're like the sweets at the end of the counter, that they're going to trick us into buying more things than we want, than we need. And by writing a shopping list down, it reduces this temptation to go off and spend things that we don't necessarily need. So the next money tip is use the 2-day rule. So the 2-day rule is, if you want to buy something, then wait 2 days before you actually purchase that thing. And so I use this all the time now, and it's saved me loads of money. So don't just buy things spontaneously. Have a discipline to wait 2 days, because it will calm down our emotions. When we get caught up in this kind of frenzy of advertising, and when we go shopping, buying this thing to make us feel good. So there are chemicals in our brain that get released when we buy things. When we buy things that we've been advertised to, it releases triggers in our mind and in our brain. That means we get rewarded. We get pleasure rewards in our brain when we buy things. So have a 2-day rule, and that means that you can wait 2 days before you're allowed to buy that thing. And then you realize, actually, do I need that thing? Can I afford that thing? And will I use that thing? So the next thing is, when you do go shopping, you can shop using own brands. So I do this all the time. If say, for instance, Weetabix, you can buy own brand Weetabix, and it's going to save you so much money. Weetabix is so much more expensive than the own brand version, and that saves you so much money. The advertisers advertise you to buy their own product, but actually it's a very similar product, and I barely notice a difference. Other thing is baked beans. If you're buying baked beans, Heinz baked beans are super expensive, or other brands are much more expensive. If you buy the supermarket brand, you can just add in a bit of salt and sugar and it tastes exactly the same. You don't really know the difference. So be mindful with your spending, not mindless. Shop with a purpose and fight that impulse. So the corporations are there to get your money. So don't go shopping hungry as well. So I've done that so many times. I go shopping hungry and I end up buying loads of stuff that I don't necessarily need and I don't necessarily want. Another thing is unsubscribe to email lists. So they're there to advertise to you. So if they're not adding value to you, if they're just promoting to you, unsubscribe, take it off your, there's a law that came out recently that they have to have a button that you unsubscribe to these lists. So take yourself off these lists, and it means they're going to stop selling to you. So the internet's amazing. You can sell unwanted gifts or goods on eBay. So or Facebook Marketplace or Gumtree or Vintage. There's the world of the internet is amazing today. You can, just like I did with those trainers, you can buy goods and then you can upsell them. And you can sell unwanted gifts on eBay. This is the how you make more money. You might have been asking when I said before, Neil, how do I make more money, or how do I earn more income? The world of the internet has never been easier to buy something on eBay or something on Facebook Marketplace or Gumtree, and then sell that on, add value to it, get a bit of paint and paint it up. So my partner's great at this. We bought a house recently, and we bought a sofa for £60 on secondhand. And rather than paying £500 for the same sofa, we saved so much money by just buying secondhand or buying pre-worn goods. So the other thing, I've got a baby on the way due this Saturday, which is exciting stuff. And with most of the stuff we've bought secondhand. We've had friends give us things. We've gone on eBay. We've bought things secondhand rather than going to the shops and buying new things. Like the advertisers want you to do that, but you can buy a secondhand thing. There's no shame in buying secondhand things. There's no guilt in it. It's just as good as new, essentially, and you save so much more money. Just like I did with that my first story with those Nike Air Maxes. I could have bought them and worn them and used them myself, but I decided to buy them and upsell them, and that's when I made my first £20 in business. And the feeling I got from having that £20 in my hand and adding that value, it was amazing. So ask yourself, do you need it? Will you use it? Is it worth it? So can you afford it? And check if it's cheaper elsewhere. So next slide, please. So this Christmas, so think with your head, not with your heart. So this Christmas, think about creating experiences with your loved one, not buying things for presents. Like maybe that might be, a walk with your partner, a nice date outside, maybe a massage with your partner, or children are essentially go play football with your child. I have a child. I know it's so difficult when he has friends and advertise. He's come with me with his Christmas list already, and essentially he's thinking. So he has so many lists on his Christmas, but they want you to spend time with your friends and family and your loved ones. It's not necessarily about buying more things. So your presence is your presence. So I thought that was a real good saying. I read that on the tube yesterday, and I thought that was really nice. So your presence is your presence. So spending time with your friends and family, it's not about us buying things. It's not about buying more things. It's about spending more time with your friends and family. So another tip is don't be loyal with your mobile phones, energy provider, or insurance. You can change them every year. They tend to put your price up, and if you're loyal, if you stick with them, the cost of it goes up. Where if you shop around, actually you're going to save loads of money. You can haggle for deals. So there's no such thing as a fixed price. You can haggle for deals. You can ask for, can you get that off? Can you get something thrown in? Can you, is there any way to add value? So talking about credit cards. So pay off your expensive credit card debt first, like credit cards or consumer debt. And because think about snowball, once you pay off that expensive debt, it's going to grow. Your expensive debt is going to grow much quicker as the kind of more high interest rates you pay. So resist temptation. Remember, corporations want your money. They're not your friend. They advertise you to spend more money. The next tip, spend less than you earn, means playing a great defense. So I've got a card game called Football Formation Asset Allocation, and it teaches you how to invest your money around a football theme. So think of it like scoring a goal. You're on a football pitch. Money, if you score a goal, money goes into your pocket. If you concede a goal, money goes out of your pocket. So it's about trying to build up that income and score more goals and reduce your expenses and try and concede less goals. So it's about building up that defense. Your defense is trying to reduce your expenses, trying to build up that solid defense so you're not going to spend money. And it's building up an attack, so you're going to increase your income. So maybe that's increase your more money at a job, getting better education, get more experience, or doing things as a side hustle on the side, trying to flip like things like on eBay or Facebook that we talked about. So the first £1,000 in saving is the hardest step to take. So once you get, and it may sound out of reach to many people, but once you get that £1,000 in saving, it's the hardest thing. And once you cross that barrier, everything starts to get easier. And it's a massive shift in mindset where you can actually have that savings and to start creating a rainy day fund for emergencies. So bad things happen in life. So car brakes might break down. You might lose your job. There might be unexpected costs. So if you have a buffer that's there for emergencies, then you can dip into that for emergencies, and it's not going to kind of put you out of, it's not going to cause stress and worry to you because you've got that peace of mind that you've got that kind of buffer there to protect you for any bad times. So getting to that £1,000, try and make that. We do couch to 1K challenges. We do couch to 10K challenges. So or 10 couch to 20K challenges where we build up a savings habit and we try and start putting even a pound in a week or £1 a month. Just start building up that buffer. I pay my child pocket money, and it's amazing how much it builds up over time. He gets £1 a week, and he saved up £18 yesterday over 18 weeks, and he had the £18 in his hand. And it's amazing. Over time, it builds up. It seems like so difficult at the time, but starting small and thinking big is really powerful with money. So, and there's a big difference between impulse spending and value-based spending. So don't feel guilty about spending on things that matter, that truly matter. So life is for living, but spend on things that actually matter to you. Spend on things that are going to make a difference to your life. So happiness is wanting what you have, not having what you want. So as you said at the start, it's not about money. It's not about getting more money. It's about the goal of life is about happiness. And once you get that buffer of savings and where you're not stressed and worried about money, this really adds where it's a weight off your mind when you can build up that savings. You're not in debt, and you're not on that downward spiral of debt, which is really damaging to long-term wealth. So
Neil, thank you so much. I'm so sorry. We've just run out of time, and
okay. So really quickly, if you want to follow me, go to I've got a website called moneytips.co.uk. Go on my podcast called Millennial Money Mindset. I've also got a book called Millennial Money Mindset, or I've got a YouTube channel called Millennial Money Mindset. So follow me on social media. So come to LinkedIn, Neil Doig, LinkedIn or Money Tips, or ask me any questions and I will happy to answer them. So YouTube is a good resource, or podcast, or you can get my book Millennial Money Mindset on Amazon. It's £7. It'll be a great investment into yourself.
Thanks, Neil. Thank you so much. There's so many fantastic tips and bits of advice. There's been some great comments in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're going to have to move on to the next speaker, but that was such a great
thanks
session.
so much. I ran out of time, but I got a bit carried away. Hopefully there was loads of tips there. So thanks so much.
Thanks, Neil.
Money mindset.